Every asset you own is a promise of some kind. A share of stock, a bond, the cash in your account. These are paper claims, promises written down, worth something only because a whole system agrees they are. But some assets are different. You can walk up and touch them. A house you can stand inside, land you can walk across, a bar of gold you can hold in your hand. These are the real assets, physical things. And being touchable isn't just a feeling. It genuinely changes how they behave, what they protect you from, and where they quietly let you down. Today, I want to show you what real actually means and why the truth about houses and gold is calmer and messier than the slogans promise. Here's the plan. This is episode 5 of a series about building one machine that turns money into more money for the rest of your life. So far, the fuel has been paper, stocks, then bonds, and cash. Today, we add the third kind of fuel, real things. And we do it honestly, no hype. 6 gears. 1. Paper versus real assets. What real even means. 2. Your home, an asset you live in, not a pure investment. 3. Real estate as a business. Rent, leverage, tenants, and work. The parts nobody films. 4. Gold. The 5,000-year-old panic button, what it does and what it doesn't. 5. The inflation-hedge myth versus the messier reality. And 6, the honest roll of a small real asset slice, seasoning, not the meal. Let's start with what real means. Picture 2 shelves. On the left shelf sits everything paper, a share certificate, a bond, a bank statement. None of these are the thing itself. Each one is a claim. A written promise that you own a slice of a business, or that someone owes you money, or that a bank holds your cash. They work beautifully, but they live entirely inside a system of records and trust. On the right shelf sit the real assets, a brick house, a patch of land, a heavy gold bar. No middleman's promise stands between you and them. You simply own the physical thing. That single difference is the whole episode. It's why real assets feel safe when trust wobbles, and also why they carry costs and headaches that paper never does. Here's why that shelf matters. Because a real asset is a physical thing, it can't quietly vanish in a company going bankrupt or a promise being broken. It's still there, solid, when the paper world gets scary. That's the appeal, and it's genuine. But flip it over. That same physical thing has to be stored, insured, maintained, and protected. It doesn't pay you interest for existing. It can be expensive to buy and slow to sell, and its price still swings, sometimes wildly, just like anything else. So real assets aren't a magic escape from risk. They're a different shape of risk, with a different set of trade-offs. The job today is to see those trade-offs clearly, so you can decide how much, if any, belongs in your machine, and hold it with open eyes. Gear 1. Let's define the words, because real asset gets thrown around like everyone agrees what it means. A paper asset is a claim. You own something because a document and a system say you do. A share of stock is a claim on a company's future profits. A bond is a claim on a borrower's repayment. Cash is a claim on the wider economy. These are the engines of long-term growth, but they're promises, and promises depend on trust holding up. A real asset is the opposite, a physical thing you own directly. Property, land, gold, and broader commodities like oil or wheat, you can touch them, and they exist whether or not any single company survives. Now, here's the honest part most cheerleaders skip. Real does not mean safe, and it does not mean better. Real assets can crash in price. Many of them earn you nothing while you hold them. A gold bar sitting in a safe pays no interest, no dividend, no rent. Some cost you money every single year just to keep. So the real distinction isn't good versus bad. It's this. Paper assets are claims that usually grow and pay you, but rely on trust. Real assets are physical things that can hold value when trust breaks, but often cost you to own and pay you nothing to wait. 2 tools, 2 jobs. And notice the trade you're making each time. With paper, you accept dependence on a system in exchange for growth and income and the ability to sell in seconds. With real, you accept cost and hassle and slowness in exchange for something solid you can hold when the paper world gets frightening. Neither one is the hero of the story. You want to understand both before you reach for either. Gear 2. And this is the one people get most tangled up about. Your home is an asset, but it's an asset you live in, which makes it a very strange investment. Start with the honest truth. A home's first job is shelter. You have to live somewhere. So a house is a place to sleep, raise a family, feel settled, and only after all of that is it also a store of value that might grow. Those 2 roles get blurred, and that's where the trouble starts. People say, "My house is my best investment," but look closely at the math. Yes, the price may rise over the years, but against that, you're paying property taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, and interest on the loan year after year, out of pocket for decades. A roof, a furnace, a leaking pipe, the house quietly bills you the whole time you own it. When you total up everything that goes in versus what you eventually sell for, a home's real return is usually far more modest than the headline price gain suggests. And it's tangled with emotion in a way stocks never are. You can't calmly sell 1/10 of your kitchen in a bad year. So here's the honest frame. Your home is a fine thing to own, and paying it off is genuinely powerful. Just don't mistake shelter you enjoy for a high-returning investment. It's mostly the first, and only partly the second. Gear 3. Now separate your home from the thing people really mean when they say real estate makes you rich. Owning property to rent out. And here's the core truth. Rental real estate isn't passive magic. It's a business. It's a job. On social media, it looks effortless. Buy a place, collect rent, get wealthy in your sleep. The parts nobody films are the parts that matter. You have tenants, who are real people with real problems and sometimes don't pay. You have repairs, the water heater dies at midnight, the roof leaks, the appliance breaks, and you either fix it or pay someone who does. You have vacancies, months where the place sits empty and the mortgage still comes due. You have leverage. A loan magnifies your gains when prices rise, but it magnifies your losses just as hard when they fall, and the payment never pauses. And it's genuinely illiquid. You can't sell 1 bedroom to raise cash in an emergency. Done well, by people who treat it like the business it is, real estate can absolutely build wealth. It throws off rental income and can grow in value. But it rewards work, skill, local knowledge, and a strong stomach for headaches. It is not a hands-off machine you flip on and forget, the way a broad, low-cost fund can be. If you go in knowing you're taking a second job, not buying a lottery ticket. Gear 4, and let's be very calm and honest about this one. Gold is the 5,000-year-old panic button. For thousands of years, across every civilization, humans have agreed that this particular shiny metal holds value, and that shared belief is genuinely its power. So here's what gold actually does. When people are frightened, when trust in currencies or governments wobbles, when inflation scares everyone, money often rushes into gold and its price can jump. It's a store of value that no company can bankrupt and no central bank can print more of. That's the real honest case for it. Now here's what gold does not do, and this is where the slogans go quiet. Gold earns you nothing. A share of stock owns a business that makes money. A bond pays you interest. A rental collects rent. A gold bar just sits there. It produces no cash flow, ever. Its only hope of a return is that someone later pays more for the same inert lump. And it is volatile. Gold can sit flat or drift downward for years, even a decade or more, testing your patience while your paper assets quietly compound. So treat gold honestly. It's a nervous times insurance policy, a hedge against fear, not an engine of growth. It can hold value when everything else feels shaky. It can also do nothing at all for a very long time. That's not a flaw to hide. It's just what gold is. And owning a little of it makes sense only if you go in expecting exactly that. The same caution goes for any touchable but cash-flowless asset that gets marketed like a rocket. If it earns nothing and swings hard, it's a small slice-at-most tool, never the core of your machine. Gear 5. And this cuts to the most oversold promise in the whole category. You'll hear it everywhere. Real assets protect you from inflation. Houses, gold, land, buy them, and you're shielded when prices rise. There's a real kernel of truth in that, which is exactly why the slogan sticks. Because real assets are physical, their prices often do drift up alongside the general cost of things over the very long run. A house or an ounce of gold can be worth more in dollars after a decade of rising prices. So, as a rough, long-run idea, yes, real things can help you keep pace with inflation. But the reality is far messier than the slogan admits. The protection is unreliable and badly timed. Gold can fall in a year when inflation is high and rise when it's low. The link is loose, not a switch. Real estate can be crushed by rising interest rates at exactly the moment inflation spikes. And over the long run, roughly keeps pace is a much weaker promise than the confident marketing suggests. It's a tendency across decades, not a guarantee for the years you actually need it. Meanwhile, boring old stocks, ownership of real businesses that raise their own prices when costs rise, have historically done a perfectly respectable job against inflation too, without the storage costs or the dead weight of an asset that earns nothing. So hold the honest version. Real assets can offer some inflation protection spread over long stretches in a loose and lumpy way. What they are not is a precise, dependable shield you can count on in any given year. Anyone selling gold or property as a clean answer to inflation is selling you a slogan, not the truth. Gear 6. And this is how it all fits together sanely. If real assets can hold value in fear, but often pay you nothing and swing hard, what's their honest role in your machine? The answer is seasoning, not the meal. Think of your portfolio as a plate of food. The main course, the thing that actually feeds you and grows over decades, is your broad, low-cost fund of stocks, with bonds and cash as the steadying side. Real assets, a modest slice of something like gold or property exposure, are the pinch of seasoning. A little can add something genuine. It diversifies. It can behave differently from your stocks and bonds, and it may hold up in the exact scary moments when paper assets are falling. But seasoning is not dinner. Pour the whole jar of salt onto the plate and you ruin the meal. Put most of your money into a shiny metal that earns nothing or bet the house on one rental property, and you've handed your future to something with no engine inside it. So the honest guidance is calm and small. For most people, a real asset slice is entirely optional, and if you want one, keep it modest, a minor, deliberate share, not the core. Your home you'll own anyway for its own good reasons. Beyond that, real assets are a garnish that can round out the plate, never the thing that's supposed to grow your wealth. Diversification, not the main engine. That's the whole role, honestly stated. So how do you handle real assets like a calm operator instead of chasing the hype? Here's the boring checklist in order. First, get the definition straight. Paper assets are claims that usually grow and pay you but rely on trust. Real assets are physical things that can hold value when trust breaks, but often pay you nothing and cost you to hold. Know which is which before you buy either. Second, see your home clearly. It's shelter first, investment second. A fine thing to own and pay off, but not the high-return machine the headline price makes it look like. Count the taxes, repairs, and interest, not just the sale price. Third, if you're tempted by rental property, treat it as a business and a second job. tenants, repairs, vacancies, leverage that cuts both ways, and money you can't quickly get back out. Go in with open eyes or don't go in. Fourth, understand gold for what it is. A fear hedge that can hold value in a panic, earns nothing while you wait, and can sit flat for years. Never mistake it for a growth engine and never bet big on it. And fifth, keep the whole real asset category as seasoning, not the meal. If you want a slice, keep it small, deliberate, and for diversification, never the core of your machine. The main course stays broad, low cost, and boring, exactly like the last few episodes. That's it. Define it, see your home clearly, respect the work in real estate, know what gold really is, and keep the slice small. Touchable is not the same as safe, and now you can tell the difference. So tell me in the comments, do you own any real assets on purpose, a home aside, or has the shine always made you a little suspicious? Either way, you can now see past the slogans to what these things actually do. This is education, not financial advice. Just the honest map so you can make the call for yourself. Next time, we finally bolt the whole machine together. The portfolio. Stocks, bonds, cash, and a pinch of real assets. How they fit into one simple mix that quietly beats most of the pros, and how much of each belongs on your plate. That's where every part we've built clicks into place. I'll see you there.